Cat Nat Chats, guys, and we actually have a topic that would has really come up. Yeah, and it's coming, and came up, and we're really we're like, everything in the Common Parent, guys. If you don't know what the Common Parent is, it's our parenting platform that we created for ourselves because we needed a place where we had quick hits of the best experts all over the world giving us advice and tools to manage our teens and tweens, and also creating
information
and education, and creating a community where we can have conversations with each other, because it's really hard, and you're literally dealing with new topics that come up every single day. And
you want to bury your head in the sand because it's so overwhelming, and
that's exactly what you don't want to do.
You're delusional that it could never be you.
It could never be you
until it's you.
And you hear other people talking about their friends or their kids or someone at their school, and you're like, oh my God, that is so crazy that kid is doing that, or that kid has had that happen to them.
Not my kid.
Not my kid. Oh my gosh, like what are their parents like? But when parents get to talking, you start to realize that we have so much we can learn from each other, and there's so much that people are keeping inside because they're ashamed of what's going on with their teen or tween.
Dude, we had to start breaking news in the Circle app because every day I'm opening up like something and I'm like, are you kidding me? Like breaking news it's a private anonymous Circle app where everyone can go talk and get peer-to-peer.
Everyone that's a member of the Common Parent.
And get peer-to-peer kind of, peer-to-peer advice and like tell stories and be like, oh my God, this happened to me. And right away I go and I'm like, hey, last week, 3 stories. Like breaking news. Guys, did you know, for example, the 3 things that happened last week, I was like, y'all need to know right now that this is happening. Go and talk to your children and get curious with them. Don't bury your head in the sand because it is not the same. Parenting is not the freaking same what it used to be. It is not. You have no experience to draw on. You cannot ask your mom, and you did not live it. So you cannot parent from living it. Where we used to be able to parent from living it. No more. You did not live in Snapchat. You did not live in dick pics. And you did not live in, unless you're maybe 20 years old as a mom. Yeah. But your kid is not a teenager.
And what's happening when you were, that age, things are changing so rapidly. New things are being invented. And we're not going to touch on this topic, but if you're interested in it, this is just one of the many, many, many things that you'll learn in the Common Parent. And you don't want to be the parent who doesn't know what's going on. You want to be the one that's going on. So if you haven't heard of the word Zen, then you already need to join the Common Parent. But today we're going to talk about a topic that came up as an emergency. And we're going to give, luckily, when it got put out there, people in our community were like, oh my gosh, this happened to my child. And you can absolutely anonymously tell this story to your audience so we can all be informed, because it's just the beginning and it's happening everywhere.
So I open up my Apple News, as I do, to kind of check what's going on. And I get all the articles from like people to like Slate magazine, literally everything. And there's a Wall Street Journal article that is like, hey, heads up, there's a scammer on Snapchat, and it's kind of an epic problem. It's a massive problem.
Yeah.
Not just a tiny problem, a massive problem.
And it's not one, so this is something that's happening on Snapchat, and it's not one person who is out there doing this. It's kind of like, it reminds me, I used to watch Dr. Phil a lot. Mm-hmm. And a lot of these women were catfished by these men in, it was always the same country, at some country. And they pretended they were in love with these women, and then they would send the money. This is like and these women were totally normal, educated, well-established women who were literally getting rid of their savings account to these men who they thought were eventually going to be together, and they were in love. This is the next generation of that. and it's with our kids.
Teen boys specifically.
Mm-hmm.
It's specifically teen boys. Now, before I tell you the story, I need you guys to know 2 things. Also, why you should be in the Common Parent. On Snapchat, they become friends with mutuals. So if you have 6 or 7 mutuals, you're like, oh, they're friends with all of these people, I can be friends with them. This is a really important part of the story because mutuals matter, and these scammers are smart enough now to understand. They understand the Snapchat world and why mutuals matter. So mutuals are, if Natalie befriends me, we've never met, and I look at her profile, and it says you have 15 mutuals. I'm like, oh,
normal.
It says she's a 13-year-old girl or a 12-year-old girl. And I'm like, oh my God, even though she might be from Boston, I'm like, everyone travels there. They definitely know her.
Amazing.
I'm totally gonna accept you.
100% verified to the teenage mind.
And if you really want to get curious and ask your kids about mutuals, be like, oh my gosh, I am on Snapchat. There's a bunch of mutuals that I have, like, but I've never met them. Do I accept them?
Absolutely.
And see what they say. Most of them will say,
if they're friends of friends, then they're basically like in your circle.
I want to say probably 80% of your kids' friends on Snapchat, they've never met in real life.
Yeah.
Like, I would put so much money down on that it is the way they accept people is based on mutuals. Okay, that's really important in this story. I've heard this story now directly from parents it has happened to and parents who as friends it has happened to. And it is so mind-blowing because you can't imagine that it would happen, and then it comes out in the Wall Street Journal. Basically, somebody who's not a 12-year-old girl or a 13-year-old girl, and Nat's going to help me with the story because I read it and I was like, dude, we have to talk to our sons because I don't think I've had this conversation with them. They accept someone who's a mutual of someone else. And it's a cute girl with a profile who's nice, who knows how to talk like a 13-year-old girl, and they become friends.
Yeah, and she looks exactly like 100 other of his friends, but they start having a little flirtatious relationship on Snapchat, which, by the way, is totally normal. Your child could have a relationship that they would put in the books and say, I have a girlfriend, and they have never met or they don't even live in the same country.
Also as part of the common parent, and it's a total fact.
Okay.
So they begin having conversations. This is a grade 7 or 8, usually from what I'm beginning to see, grade 7, 8, maybe a young grade 9.
She sends a picture of herself.
Either provocatively or nude. Most likely, she's probably really good at knowing exactly what to send. Reminder, it's not her.
And one of two things happen. Either she says, I can take a picture of my, do you want it? A lot of 13-year-old boys aren't going to be like, no. They're going to be like, okay. Or she doesn't even ask. She just sends it. But now he holds an inappropriate photo of a girl that he thinks he's talking to.
And then two things either happen. One, she says, I sent you one. Now you send me one. Or they talk and she's like, send me one of something.
And then he's like, no, I don't want to. And she's like, come on, I sent one to you. And then he's like, I didn't ask for it. You just sent it. Yeah, you did ask for it. Now send me one back. And if you don't send it to me back, then I'm going to tell all of your mutuals that you asked for my nude and I'm not even 12 years old.
Now,
so he's scared.
And he already sees she is friends with all of the mutuals. So it's already a fact that it could be gone and sent. Now, every person I have talked to, their photo has been sent to the mutuals of their private parts. We'll just say that so I don't get
basically
banned.
he says no. She says yes or else I'm going to tell everybody this. He's scared. He takes a picture. He sends it to her. Now she either says, you pay me money or I'm going to leak this photo to everybody. Or I'm just going to leak it. Usually because she doesn't get what she wants. And his fucking dick pic is surrounded to all the people that he goes to school with, that he plays hockey with, that he plays football with.
Now he's afraid to tell his parents because we have told them, do not send nudes, do not do this. But they've already been kind of coerced into doing it because it's an adult on the other end who's a scammer and is really good at their job and knows how to get it. I am talking young males who are educated, who are like, who you would never think would do it, but they're too afraid to tell their parents. Once they have a picture of a young girl on their phone and they know that they can get in trouble, because we know especially in where we live in Toronto, if you forward even a photo of someone else, you can get arrested.
Child pornography, possession of.
This is like kind of like talked about in some schools, not all schools.
So he's very scared. So he doesn't want to tell anybody.
Yeah, but he's in a predicament. So now they're in a predicament. And he's like, I don't know whether to tell my parents. The one person who I talked to said that, thankfully my son came to me and told me, and the messages were really threatening and they were really good at what they did. And he was really scared. And they said they've known some people who have unfortunately like taken their own lives because they've been so afraid of what the outcome is going to be. Because when you're that young, you don't have the coping skills, nor do you have the ability to understand that you're the victim, because they make you feel like you're not the victim.
And you're literally thinking in their world, because think about how small their world is. This is the end of my world. I will never recover from this.
I'm going to get kicked out of school. Everyone's going to see my photo. I'm going to have no friends. I'm going to get kicked off my team.
And unfortunately, in the world of just sharing things, even though those mutuals are like, oh my God, I can't believe they have a dick pic. What do they go do?
They share it.
They go share it.
So it is, and that's what happens. And it gets shared and shared and shared. And that person is way too young to be having to deal with those feelings. And if they don't have a parent, if a parent's going to get mad at them, that could be a really overwhelming feeling of what to do. So, and I think the biggest problem is, and I have experienced this firsthand, in these situations, your kids feel shame and they don't know how to handle it. So they think they're in trouble and they don't want to disappoint their parents. So right away, even though it's not their fault, these people and like porn sites on YouTube and, things that aren't meant to be served to them, they all automatically feel like, I don't know what to do with this. I'm a bad kid. I shouldn't have looked at that. What's wrong with me? And they don't know what to do. And I think that I saw one of my children think they were in so much trouble because of something that was served to them. And I never thought in my life that I would see one of my children who I'm so open with and have these conversations with. But every expert we've talked to talks about the harm of it is that they internalize it and don't know what to do with those feelings, because a lot of these things that they see cause shame and feelings they can't process. And I was like, that is what the bigger problem is they don't know how to cope with what they're feeling, and they might not know how to reach out and ask for help to their parents.
No, and correct me if I'm wrong, but as a parent, if you go on there and your kid tells you, and then you go and try and track that person, you're never going to find them.
Nope.
You're never, ever. That person is never going to be in trouble. What they're going to do is they're going to move on to the next one.
Yeah. And I think that if someone probably tried to do it to like an undercover cop, then they'd probably get caught because they'd be able to track them. But no, most likely they're scammers for a reason and they can't find it. But I really caution you to say like that would never happen.
And they would literally close down their account and then just open up a new one.
1,000%.
But it's so true. Don't say it could never happen to you. And if even as a parent, because we're speaking from the parenting perspective, obviously we want you to understand what it would be like for the kids. But for us, if our kid tells us that too, we feel shame in admitting it, because if we don't talk about this openly or anonymously in the common parent, we live with the shame that there's something wrong with my child. Why did it happen to him? Why did he do that?
What was he thinking?
What was he thinking? And
not knowing the context of why he would have done that, because also kids are really bad at details, some kids. And my experience with boys in the tween teenage, sometimes they miss the gaps of the conversation and it comes out in a way like it's not like very detailed. And that's, I'm talking from my experience. I'm not generalizing all boys. I know one or two of Nat's boys.
I love interviewing teenagers in the car, but the way the boys leave out details, I literally am like, I cannot let you out of my car until you give me more specific. It's like this one recently I had in my car. It was like, he's brain dead. I was like, I'm just asking a simple question.
No, but it's not for them. It's just too much to process.
It's just like, couldn't answer any questions. I know that there are girls like this too, but get a girl into the details and she gonna talk forever. But the boys, it's like they have no recollection of what happened properly.
And don't come at us for being a generalization. Just our experience with our boys currently is that they tend to leave out very pertinent details. And I do believe it's so much information at one time that it's like I only took in 4 or 5 right now, and the details come out like this rather than like once in our experience with our children right at this moment.
And lots of people that are in our cars.
Yeah. I just mean like, because I'm sure someone's going to be like, my son tells me every detail. He has a photographic memory. Anyways.
Very lucky you are.
If you are in the common parent, we posted the article and then we posted exactly what you can say and do to have the conversation to make sure you kind of verse them in this space and how to stay on top of, trending topics. Basically, it's called breaking news. Go in there and you can see all the things that are coming up that are in your kids' lives and worlds, even if you don't believe it is. Absolutely, it is.
I was about to ask, like, what are some of those things? But guys, this is only one of the many, many, many topics in the Common Parent, and you just need to be in there because we can't keep you up in this podcast on every single breaking news, but we can do it in the Common Parent because our team can move very quickly and new information, having it posted and getting it to you. It's your parenting news feed for teen and tweens.
We have your parenting news feed.
Right?
It's so true. We also have a newsletter that is for free that you can go and subscribe to. It's called The Cap. And if you go to thecommonparent.com, you can see the cap
on the
there.
main page, it says subscribe for
comes
free.
once a week. Anyways, it is a never ending parenting shenanigans. My daughter.
Oh, yeah.
God bless my baby, sweet baby girl.
Oh, thank God for her.
You know, I told you guys one day I would do a podcast on what happened in the summertime, and maybe we'll make that a bonus because I really have found so much information coming out of this so insane because basically right now.
Oh, so not your baby girl.
My big girl.
Big girl, baby girl.
My big girl, my big girl, baby. Basically from her head injury, the way she handles stress now impacts her head so severely.
Mm-hmm.
But it's always been there.
Mm-hmm.
But now she has like arthritis. Let's just call it arthritis, okay? Where her injury actually is like tight and becomes like they can feel it. It's almost like a scar tissue. So she has to learn how to handle her stress to bring it down so her stress level, her hormones, not hormones, but like her fight or flight doesn't get too high because she gets so anxious about tests. And she gets so worked up. Like she has a heart rate monitor now. And before a French oral exam worth 5 points or something, her heart rate went to 203. 203 to speak out loud. Now, I know you have experience in like the feeling of being like she has outer body experiences, okay? And I said to her, I'm like, so when we go to her physiotherapy, they're really working on her with how to manage her feelings so it doesn't trigger her.
Well, and I mean, my kid does not have a concussion, but the thing that's triggered from the stress of a test and exam,
same thing,
literally ended up in a sweating panic attack at a very young age.
Yeah. So same thing, right? So I said, you're really lucky because I think you've always had these types of reactions. Because I remember you told me your head hurts. You feel like you're out of body, like you've had panic attacks. You're learning at a really young age how to work through them and the importance of your reactions to your events that really don't matter because they sit and talk to her for like 20 minutes about what her body is physically doing because she'll take an Advil and it won't work. Well, it doesn't work because it's not actually a pain. It's inside. So I'm like, you are so lucky.
Yeah.
And then I tell her, this is when people turn to drugs and alcohol. We're in the she's like, but it's very true. And I really thought, I wish there was a course in school that focused on your reactions to really stressful situations. And we talked about, oh God, back to the Common Parent, like why people need to get wasted at parties because she doesn't understand if they know what they look like because she's like, you don't talk to me. And then you get drunk and you're like hugging me and saying you miss me. She's like, this is very confusing. Don't you know you?
Oh, she'll just been very versed in it.
I'm just saying, don't you know you kind of look like we don't talk and now you're hugging me and telling me you love me. She's like this. What's wrong with you?
Oh.
And I'm like, it's kind of their true feeling. So they're too insecure to talk to you when they're not drunk. But when they're drunk, they really like you as a person. And she's like, so weird. And I'm like, it's about learning what your securities and your insecurities are. And it kind of is a lifelong process. You're just learning at a lot younger of an age. But imagine there was like 2 courses in school from a very young age.
And she's also learning how to do it like right now, sober.
Everything's sober. And she's been told by the physiotherapist, you cannot drink. You cannot drink. Yet. Yeah, right now. No, she cannot drink. Like she cannot, though it could be a very bad idea right now. A very bad idea for your head because you can barely do a math test. Like you can barely read a book. Don't go getting drunk. Like you can't even play a tennis game without almost passing out. So let's just like regroup here. He's like, that might not be the best idea to drink. She's like, I'm not drinking. I'm like, I'm not drinking. Don't worry. But it's a really fascinating topic. If you ever long-term have a brain thing, a concussion or something, how it impacts your internal body, which I think we all have. It's just how can you cope when she could cope better and now she can't cope as well. So everything, all of her stress comes out so much more. And I'm like, oh, you've been having this since you were a little girl. Like you faint, you pass out. That's actually not normal.
Oh, and I know it's nothing physical.
It's actually a visceral response from you thinking you're going to die. Like your body thinks it's dying.
Well, no, I don't think I'm dying.
You're running from a tiger in the woods.
Whoa. So I just faint.
Yeah. Because your body, like your heart rate goes up, you get hot, and your body's like, peace out. Crazy. That you could, we could just do some.
It's embarrassing.
Deep breathing. We could give you some headphones.
I try.
It gets to, because you get to the point where it's too far gone.
Well, and I also like, I have you, I have people I can call, literally can take my mind off and then I'm okay.
Oh, so you have a coping strategy.
But I can't do it on my own. At all.
Is that why you think you can't drive on highways?
Maybe. Do you know that I heard? Like, actually, someone we know that we're in touch with these days said that when she was on a highway once, she didn't know what was happening. But she's like, can't breathe. My heart's racing. I can't do this. I think I'm dying.
Panic attack.
Okay. So she calls the cops. And they're like, they guided her through. They say, this happens all the time on highways.
Wait, she kept driving? She didn't pull over?
They talked her through it. They got her to slow down, pull over. She didn't finish her drive. She ended up pulling over. But they were like, they know exactly what was happening. They say this happens all the time. So yeah, fuck, I'm not getting in the middle of a highway.
So you're driving. Let's just picture this. You're driving. And what starts happening? You're sweaty. You start getting like hot.
Your thoughts aren't clear. It's sort of like it's almost getting blurred.
And then you're like 911.
I guess she did, yeah.
And then you're like, hi.
My heart is racing. I think I'm having a heart attack.
I'm driving, but I'm driving.
And
so you're out of your right mind.
Out of your right mind.
Because if you really are physically, medically having a heart attack, I think you'd pull over.
Yeah.
But your brain is impacted, not your heart.
Yes. No, there's nothing really happening in the body. It's all in the head.
You know, I've never had one.
I wonder if she drives on the highway now. I should ask her.
You know what?
Actually, I think she probably does.
I feel this challenge. I think I should take you on the highway.
No, I'm not.
We could.
Not at this time in my life. I have too much.
I'll get a steering
on.
wheel. I'll go beside you. I'll take over if I have to.
No. Well, I drove for all the people who ask me for carpools. It's funny. Remember I told you someone said I don't want that mom carpooling?
Yeah.
Because she's not a confident driver. Hilarious. It was just in the city, so I can do the city. I had a kid in my car, and I had to drive on what it's not a highway, but to me, it's a highwbe because you can go 80.
Yeah.
That's a highway. If you're going fast.
2-lane road.
So because for me, it's that you're moving at a fast pace and you have to be aware of all the cars at the same time and moving lanes. So that feels like a highway. So I said to the kid, I go, listen, this is before we get on this street. I go, I know you're probably not familiar with this. I'm like, but this is called team driving. I'm like, you got that window. My other kid, you got that window.
How old are they?
They're in grade 7. And he's like,
I thought you were going to say grade 4. I'm like, no, oh my God.
He's like, what? And I go, yeah, just go with me here. This is team driving. I will look at all my windows, and I also need you guys to be aware. So we get on this.
Amazing.
We're going to look to the left. And if you guys see that it's all clear, I will change lanes. But this is a team. You can't distract me. You can't talk about anything. We are in this together. It's called team driving. He was laughing.
Just so you know, when I was behind you watching you go home one time, you were gunning it down the road.
Just getting it over with.
I was just like, you didn't even look when you turned. You like switched lanes. And I'm like, that. Not even with the blinker. I'm like,
I want it over with.
What the fuck? Good thing I'm behind you because you were like.
As soon as I get on that highway, I go as fast as I can.
I'm like, it's not an 80 here. It's a 60.
I told him, I said to the kid, it's a car race. And then there was a car that was racing me beside me. I'm like, oh God, we're going as fast as we can. He goes, you're going over the speed limit. I go, do you want to get this over with?
I literally was watching you. And I think Max was like, she is going very fast and erratic.
Really fast.
It was, oh my God. Really I wanted to tell you that. I forgot that. You were like, and I was like, like, slow down.
No, get it over with as fast as I can.
You know, once my sister-in-law, sorry, sister-in-law, I'm going to do this to you. We took a boat it was just me and her. And she's like, oh, and the kids. She's like, I know exactly where to go and what to do. I'm like, cool. Because like, I don't know the lake. I know how to drive a boat very well. But you want to drive? Go crazy. I think I parked she's like, I just can't dock it. I'm like, no problem. I can dock it. So I dock the boat. We get the ice cream. We go. We're leaving again. She's trying to get out of the marina. She ends up putting it into forward. There are brand new, like I want to
instead of reverse,
$150,000 boats. Okay. She let goes of the steering wheel and it's like, I'm done. And I look, I think I went like black. Okay. Remember when the dog jumped out, I had to jump in and get, I don't know.
Mhm.
I go out of the world.
Mhm.
I don't know where I go, but I don't remember what I do.
Mhm.
I basically just remember taking the boat and made sure all the kids were sitting because you don't want a kid to go out of the back of the boat, okay? I take it and I freaking throttle it backwards. And you can see the marina in slow motion all being like it was packed because you see this boat like careening towards a brand new probably $300,000 boat, okay? Maybe even more. The boats are so fucking expensive.
Yeah.
So I'm like this. I gun it back. I don't remember. I know I got it out of there.
Whose
I know
boat was it?
my mom's boat.
Oh, God damn
But
it.
that wasn't the boat I was worried about. They were putting
No,
brand
I know,
new
but I'm just
boats.
saying, I was just thinking, of course, if you got a boat, they're going to be expensive.
It was like it's a very old boat. So I was not worried about her boat. I'm like looking and I'm
It's
like,
from the Chinese press.
yep, I told you, scammer. I knew right away. So I'm like, so I don't know how I got out of there. I just remember everyone being like I remember everyone's face slow motion. I remember getting out of there and I just remember being like, oh my God. And she's like, I don't know what happened. But she let go of the steering wheel and was like, I'm out, going forward fast. And I was just like, that is called like panic attack, but fuck it. Like just fuck it. Not
It's flight.
like that was total flight.
Mm-hmm.
That is flight.
Mm-hmm.
And then when that man was falling and no one was helping, I'm like, help him. Thank God the guy pushed the button.
Mm-hmm. That was crazy. A man was falling backwards on an escalator.
And we were watching him go 1, 2, 3. But
I wasn't looking up at the time. I thought it was just a bag because the bag had fallen like a month ago.
But everyone was watching him. And I'm like, someone go and help him because
I think they were also trying to protect themselves from being knocked over by him.
No, because we were all on the ground. But we couldn't get through because they were all blocking him.
Yeah, but there was some up there on him. Like there's one in front of him. It's like I was trying to explain to my kid that there was a bag falling down the escalator. And escalators just seem so dangerous to me. I can't believe they're made of sharp metal like that and that people go on steep things with big bags. It never feels right to me. And children are on there. And I've never actually, now I've seen 3 bags go.
And a person.
I heard someone else just told me about another person falling the escalator yesterday. I heard it coming. And I knew it was, I thought it's either going to hit me the back of my legs and I'm going to go flying. Or I thought maybe I'll just put my leg to the side and it'll stop the bag. But either way, I don't want to see it happening. I'm prepared to fall.
That is you go numb. You go
or
dark.
I'm prepared to stop it. So I was like, let's just hope that the bag is falling to the right and not right there.
You didn't move.
I put my leg out like this and I stopped the bag with my leg.
Didn't turn around?
Didn't turn around.
You
I was
did
like,
nothing.
Because it feels scary to see it happen. If it's going to happen, it's going to happen. And I was like, if I can stop it, I'll stop it. But if this leg doesn't work and it doesn't stop, then I'm just going with it.
It was, you just go.
And I stopped the bag.
Straight. It's just like this.
Boom, leg.
It's like you were a cat.
Bag. Boom. Done.
I don't know what I would have done.
I just I think I can stop it. Because it sounded like it was coming for me. And I thought it could break my leg.
Are you a fighter or a flighter?
Well, I mean, maybe just stay there.
You freeze. Fight, flight, or freeze.
But I stuck my leg out and I stopped the bag.
You go to like an uber calm place.
Mm-hmm.
You just go like quiet,
calm.
silent. Like I go maniac.
Mm-hmm.
Us fucking let's go. That is the same person, no? Oh, no. No, you're not getting that. That's to confirm tomorrow. No.
I'd love to know what's happening, but yes. Yeah.
Anyways, that's a very, we all know. Yeah, Olivia goes, figures it out. Max screams at the top of his lungs and runs around like he's literally everyone's dying. And
Tucker
Chloe don't know yet.
Vanish.
So Max and Tucker cannot live together.
Vanish. but they can't live together. But at least maybe your son will make a ruckus and someone will go for help. Tucker will go hide in the bottom of a corner. He won't come out for 2 years. You'll be like, so did everyone survive? Okay, cool.
Literally, he'll leave another country.
Because I had 2 kids choke on things, a pickle and an M&M. And he felt if I see someone choking, I feel scared, but it also is gross. So I think he's going to barf. So took off. Didn't even come back to find out if they were dead. And they were his siblings.
Yeah. Well, Max is screaming and running back and forth, like just distraction, like literally back and forth, like he's dying. Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! Like you're like, dude, you're not helping the situation. We're like, I need you to. You know what I did last night? And we gotta go. So I heard a big bang. I don't know if it was in my dream. I don't know what it was, but I sat up and I'm like, Mark, and he was like, whoa. Like he was. So when he does it, it's like we forget there's lights.
Yeah.
And you forget what's going on because he was like, what? And I'm like, there's a noise. You got to go sound it out. And he's like, what? And he doesn't go. And I'm like, fuck, give me your phone. I'll go down like with a flashlight. Just turn the fucking light on and go downstairs.
I feel like men are always in such a deep sleep.
Anyways, he didn't go back to sleep because I heard something, but I don't. He's like, is the alarm on? I'm like, yeah, I don't know what that was. Maybe it was in my dream. I don't know.
Well, when my house was Thanksgiving and the turkey set on fire, I only had one baby. My whole family was in the house. There was someone taking a shit in the basement. There were like the alarms going off. There was a fire. I grabbed my baby
And you ran outside.
and I didn't say anything to anybody else. And I stood outside with the baby. My husband's inside. My mom, everyone. I grabbed nobody. I grabbed the baby and I went outside with my shoes and I waited till they fixed
And
the
that
problem.
was it.
Just waited there. With the
You
baby.
were like, I'm not made. That's my
baby,
baby.
let's go. I'm not dealing with that.
Oh, not.
And I thought to myself, the one in the basement's going to burn to death. My stepbrother.
Wow.
So I was right for taking a shit during
still,
Thanksgiving.
He's still here, everyone.
Still here.
Well, y'all, that was a roundup of let's call that one shits in the basement and emergencies.
Don't think that your kid.
That's what I mean. It's emergencies. This was an SOS. SOS
To the world.